Here at Around the Clock, we try to share with you news that has happened or has recently happened in Ashland. We had a fire over at Joanne Drive. We had the opportunity to get an update and detail about that fire from Matt Boland, one of the lieutenants at the Ashland Fire Department.
Good afternoon. My name is Lieutenant Matt Boland. I work here for the Ashland Fire Department. I was the OIC the night of the fire on 8 Joanne Drive. We received a call Sunday evening just before, I believe, 10 o'clock at night. We received the Central Station fire alarm letting us know that the fire alarm had activated inside the building at Joanne Drive. Not too shortly after that, we received a 911 call from apartment 16 reporting that they had a dishwasher fire in the kitchen. We responded with 3 firefighters on engine 1 and 2 firefighters on our tower. Upon arrival, we had smoke showing in the rear of the building, and it was also reported to us prior to our arrival from the police department that they did have heavy smoke showing from the rear. At that time, we filled out what we call our first alarm assignment, bringing in mutual aid companies automatically to help us. The biggest concern that we have with that building, and we call help early, is the amount of people that live in them. 39 apartment units in Building 8 alone can be well over 100 people that we're faced with, and our concern is obviously that their safety primarily and getting everybody out safe. The first in engine attached to a hydrant, got water supply real quick. The ladder followed in behind us, put the stick to the roof. Engine 1's crew went in, an aggressive interior fire attack, and at that time we realized that we had a heavy volume of fire inside apartment 16. And quickly we struck what we call a second alarm. That second alarm brings more mutual aid resources from other communities. And not too shortly after that, realizing that with the amount of fire we had, it had gotten into the walls and into the pipe chases and started making its way up onto the 3rd floor. Relatively quickly after that, a 3rd alarm was transmitted, again bringing more mutual aid. The captain reported that all hands were working, and that means that every firefighter on scene that evening had a task. And like I said earlier, one of the challenges was rescue. We do what we call primary and secondary searches, where we do real quick primary searches of each unit in the affected fire building. All 3 floors needed to be searched, and the captain quickly put people to work trying to make sure that we had everybody accounted for and out safe, while we also had our engine companies inside the building knocking the heavy bulk of the primary fire down and checking for extensions. Not too shortly after that, the fire was, making some progress. We vented the roof. At that time, the captain made the decision to go defensive, which means we pull every firefighter out of the building. At that time, we had also had reports that everybody was out safe. We went to a defensive operation, which means that we only work from the outside. We extinguished the fire as best we could. And with the bulk of the heavy fire that was coming through the 3rd floor roof, we then went back in, hit the hot spots, and started what we call overhaul. And that's where we have to, physically go in and pull apart walls and ceilings to check for any hidden fire, using special thermal cameras that we have and just our regular hand tools. And after a number of hours working at that fire, the captain brought the situation under control, meaning that we had any hazards at that time were controlled. And then we turned the building over to the property owners again. And at this time, it's still actively being investigated by the State Fire Marshal's Office and our fire investigator, David Iarrusi.
We want to thank Matt for giving us that update and David Iarrusi for sharing some of the pictures. Some of them you might have seen already on Facebook. Also with our guest today from Home to Homes, we are looking to help people who have been displaced by that fire and who might be in need of clothing or bedding or any other household item. Another fire that just recently happened over in Hopkinton, Ashland provided mutual aid along with a number of other towns. It was a multiple alarm fire over at 10 Jordan Drive in Hopkinton. It looked like the fire hydrants either weren't working or there was something going on because they actually had to bring in water trucks to help fight that fire. The house was damaged, but it looks like the residents were able to get out and there was no injuries from that.